guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is part 2 of the Greg and Megan saga, and it's our time in Williamsport. We were talking and realized that we missed a chunk of time from the time we got arrested and started shooting up until we moved to Williamsport. And that was a few months. It was like September till January, but I will make a separate video about that because there are some funny stories from that time. And Williamsport was an escape, or so we thought. I mean, what's better than running away from your problems? There's...
Yeah, right.
We went to court for the first time, I know, like the beginning of January. Pretty sure it was our first time. I know we went like January 3rd.
Yeah.
And going back to college looked better. It looked really good on paper, so of course I was going to do it. And we thought that if we moved away from our dope dealers and Baltimore, far enough from Baltimore, we would be okay. We were wrong.
Yeah, we were wrong.
So, let's see. Basically, where do you want to start?
You chose Penn Tech just because you had been there before?
Yeah.
And, like, knew the area?
Yeah, we went to Williamsport, which is Penn Tech, Pennsylvania College of Technology. I had studied graphic design there. I completed a year and a half, and I was like, yeah, I'll just go back and finish my program.
For a thing that you no longer had any interest in,
yeah,
or like,
I was
cared about at all.
Totally over it, but I thought, like, I can do this. So when we moved up there, it was us in one car, my mom in another, driving a U-Haul, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
And my sugar daddy, basically, that's basically what Scott was, and he's the police officer that I mentioned, and he drove up with a truck full of our stuff, which it was so crazy to me that he drove like us. I don't know.
I didn't come up with you.
Yeah, you did. You drove me.
I wasn't supposed to be there though. I don't think. Oh.
Yeah, you drove me. You were there.
I couldn't remember.
We moved right in.
I remember moving in.
Like he's saying, we were living in an off-campus housing, so it was supposed to be just me. It was a 2-bedroom apartment, I guess. It's like this really big house, and it has, what, 3 or 4 floors? 3 floors. It has apartments on each side, and I mean, this guy made bank off of this place. And I had this whole apartment to myself because I had signed up so last minute, and they did not want Greg there at all. And I was just like, okay, yeah, whatever.
Sure, won't be there.
Yeah, and we never signed up for utilities. We didn't do a whole hell of a lot. Like, electric was a given because it's this big complex,
right.
But, like, heat was supposed to go in our name, gas, and we didn't do that. So, what we did, so when we first got up there, I think we made it a whole day and a half before we freaked out and were like, I can't handle this, I'm dope sick. And we drove home, and it was, what, a 3-hour?
It was 3 hours.
It's a 3-hour drive one way, and we thought that would be enough to deter us from making that trip, but it wasn't.
Just an unnecessary obstacle that
right?
we made ourselves go through.
And we did this, like, daily almost, if not, daily, if not every other day.
It felt like daily.
Yeah, it
Looking
sucked.
back feels like daily.
And so we were driving back, and now I had mentioned that we were getting dope in grams and half grams before, so larger quantities. And now we were getting these $30 vials that were like, that's so expensive for so little.
Not sustainable at all.
Terrible. It was so depressing. But we did this drive, and then Greg's car had just had the transmission fixed, right?
Yeah, it had a clutch fixed, but the transmission just started going out and.
Oh, those are separate things?
Transmission and clutch?
Yeah.
The clutch operates on the transmission.
Yeah, well,
not the same
second gear started skipping, and he couldn't really use reverse.
Yeah.
And we still drove this bitch 3 hours one way and 3 hours back. I remember the one time we were driving, and we were like, we just have to get within 50 miles of Williamsport to call AAA. And luckily we made it the whole way back, but we probably should have had AAA tow us. But we were like counting down the miles to see how far it was. And this was before rough. Like smartphones and stuff like this. So like I was counting, like, I remember I was using my phone and like the map, and it was a mess. So that obviously was not sustainable. I blew through my disbursement that, like, because you get a little bit of money to help you, like, set up with classes and shit like that. Well, I blew through that. And
in, like, a couple days.
Yeah, it was sad. And I stopped going to classes relatively quickly.
Did you have intention of going to classes? Or you did try a little bit?
I did try. And I failed miserably, but I did try. I had the intentions of doing it.
You couldn't do it sick. So.
I didn't know how bad it would be, and like the thing was, like, if I got high at night or I was okay in the morning to function for my 8 a.m. class. So like I did do 8 a.m. classes for a bit. Yeah. But it didn't last very long. And at that point we were fucking desperate. Like so desperate because the car wasn't drivable for long distances. We could drive it around town. The mall was like a couple miles, like a good couple miles.
Too far.
Yeah, it was too far, and it was bad. So like we couldn't go to FYE to pawn like our DVDs. We did that for a while. We sold DVDs. We sold whatever we could. We sold furniture. I sold my fucking bed frame or whatever.
You sold a kitchen table too.
Yeah, I sold a lot of shit.
Sold everything you could sell. I mean, all the ways you can get money.
Yeah, my MacBook is the one thing I didn't sell, thank God. I don't know how. Yeah, we still have it, and we opened it up, and it actually, what was wrong with it?
I had a RAM problem.
Yeah, the RAM, it short-circuited or something,
so I changed it out.
He changed it out, and we opened it up, and we got all these pictures from 2007, and that was awesome.
And before, and
yeah.
There's a lot of pictures on there.
Yeah. So then we were desperate and we tried everything. We literally drove around Williamsport asking everybody. I was like, are you good? Can you get something? Like,
I remember us being much more like, damn, I wish I could go ask that person, but I don't want to ask that person because that's scary.
No, I was totally, like, we did some stupid shit. We asked people, I will 100% admit this, I racially profiled people and I shouldn't have because I was like, hey, but... I was a piece of shit then. Yeah, like, and we went to like certain areas of Williamsport that I knew were like more of like, I knew you could get drugs there because I got coke there and stuff like that before when I was in college the first time. I didn't because I actually didn't do coke then, but my roommate did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny how I didn't do drugs for so long and then I like hit the ground running.
Yeah.
So I knew that there was one person that would possibly be my hookup. So
the Hail Mary, like maybe this one person that I knew this one time is still here.
Yeah, so he was a local, he lived there, and he was friends with my ex-boyfriend. I went to this college because my ex-boyfriend went there, and he was still there. And this kid's name was Scott. I don't care. I honestly don't know if he's alive.
Yeah.
And I reached out to him on MySpace because this is still MySpace, and like, so there's no, I don't think I had, I wouldn't have had his AOL chat, but there was no iPhones, there was no Facebook, there was no, like, I couldn't do anything. I didn't have a phone number.
Did you go somewhere?
Well, at this point, I think we ended up in the hospital because we were shooting up, like, shit we shouldn't have been shooting up, like our old cottons and stuff. We gave ourselves really bad cotton fever. Like, really bad. Like, we were laying in bed and, like, our fucking arms were spazzing.
It was almost seizures.
Yeah, we went to the hospital, and the doctor told us that I had lots of coke in my system. And I was just like, I mean...
We didn't try to put that
there. Yeah, that's not supposed to be there, but I guess if you say so. So they kicked us out of the hospital. I had checked my phone, and Scott responded to me on MySpace. And that was that. We met him...
And he wasn't a ton of help, like, he kind of was.
Well, he introduced us to that one dude, and that dude introduced us to...
Yeah, and so kind of helped.
Yeah, well, without him, we wouldn't have been able to get any connection, because nobody would have trusted us. So, Scott had a friend, and this friend's not really that important. He got me a job for a minute, and I didn't keep it. And he introduced us to this guy named... And he was, like, our ride or die up there. He lived in the town forever. He was older, like I would say 50s.
Yeah.
50s, maybe?
Yeah, 50s.
Yeah, maybe.
At minimum.
Maybe 60s, and he...
No, I think 60s he would have looked a little rougher.
He was pretty gray and like missing all his front teeth and stuff, but his drug of choice was crack.
Yeah.
But he did do dope, right?
I don't think so. I think he would always have $10 for crack instead of any break off.
So... introduced us to a couple of dealers, and they got their stuff from Newark, right?
Jersey.
Yeah, so stuff was now in wax packs and bundles, which was completely unfamiliar to us. Yeah. I think I had seen a wax pack like once prior to that.
I didn't think about that, but you're
right.
Yeah,
it was cool because they'd like, I mean, I'd say it's cool, but they had stamps on them. The stamps are
interesting,
right? Yeah, you knew what I was going to say before I even said it. Like, we had like Obama and like...
They're just topical and
funny. I don't know. So it's not
cool. Not funny either. They're
but
like,
it was just it was a whole different ball game.
Hellfire. You could die.
Yeah.
Good to know. Thanks.
Yeah, that's the one that they said. I remember that. They're like, careful, people are dying on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it didn't stop us.
Stupid
so,
behavior.
What I'm trying to get at, though, is that this is completely different than what we had ever experienced. This was more city than we'd ever experienced. We drove to Baltimore, but our experience in Baltimore was like, go down, you go down there, you get it, you meet B, and then you bounce.
And keep as low a profile as possible. People know why you're there, but it's also like a lot of people eat from selling, so they don't want to run. Yeah, they don't want to run people. It's a complicated situation.
Yeah, so Williamsport was different, and we met the two dealers, and then we met another dude named, and was pretty cool because he was very much like us. He was younger.
But plugged in, like he knew people.
He knew people, yeah. He was a good person to know if you wanted to know everything. Like, he could tell you what you could say to give you, like, a bundle to, like, I remember the first time I met this dude, he's like, watch this, I'm gonna get you a free bundle. And I was like, what do you mean? He said, go over and say XYZ. So I did. I walked up to this dude, no fucks, no shame, no, like, nothing, and I just said whatever he told me to say, and he gave me a bundle of dope, and I was like, oh. Yeah. So it, like, spiraled, like, so fast. We went from having nobody in there and thinking we were gonna die to having connections. And
being all right. Like, we still weren't great, but, like, we were in better shape than we were.
Yeah. But we didn't have heat. Yeah. We heated with the oven. Yeah. We didn't have food. We would buy it from the food pantry, or not buy, we would get it from the food pantry, and, like, the bread would be moldy. We'd eat stale bagels.
I would not say moldy. I would say
it did have
not
mold on
it.
It.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, one time the loaf of bread they gave us.
The food pantry did us a great service.
Oh, hell yeah. I'm not
gonna shit on them.
But the bread was moldy the one time. It was a loaf of white bread.
I don't recall.
I do.
I trust you.
I know. So, it was just bad. We didn't have money. My mom helped us out a lot. And she didn't really know what she was she says she doesn't know what she was helping for, but...
You are a convincing liar. You always had a good reason that sounded plausible and, like...
Because I wasn't going to be like, some dude just jumped me and I held a gun in my head, but, like, other people...
You thought long and hard about what to ask for, and, like...
Yeah.
It's a behavior you get good at.
And I knew how to ask, like, my mom, and then maybe my dad, and then maybe somebody else.
Spread it out.
Yeah, I tried to.
Every day.
And it was just rough living up there. Like, the car eventually completely broke. And
you left it on the side of the highway.
Yeah, we didn't have any friends.
So much stuff in the trunk that I never got back.
Yeah, I know, I missed that. We had, like, so much cool stuff in there. Like a skateboard too, right?
Yeah, that was like a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. So we didn't have any friends up there that were like normal people. My ex-boyfriend was there, but he didn't really want to hang out with me too much because he knew I was hanging out with Scott. And the only time I went to see him, he made me drink a beer, and beer and dope didn't... I always threw up. So I threw up, and he just knew that I was doing bad shit. Wrong. And we had neighbors, like, on the top floor across from us, and... We went home for Easter break. No, it wasn't Easter. It was like just a winter break. It was one weekend. I don't remember what it was. My mom came to get us, and this is a very important part of it, because our apartment was fucking trash. Yeah. All the time. Like, vials everywhere, needles, like, just...
It was a drug den.
Yeah, and we always knew, like, we would clean it up so it was spotless. My mom came up, and she saw the apartment, and, like, so it looks normal. Like, she comes up and sees us, and we're fine. The apartment was completely clean. We left and locked the doors, and Scott got in, and everybody was home. It had to have been Easter.
We
celebrated Easter with which is another part of the story, but we went home.
That was later when we were up there. This was pretty early when we were up there.
We went home for an extended weekend, and, like, I guess the college let out because everybody was gone, and Scott had broken into our apartment and broken into my neighbor's apartment and robbed the shit out of them. Trashed their house, trashed our place a little, everywhere. But not as bad, so it looked so bad on us. Yeah. And I remember the landlord called.
Thank God we weren't there.
Yeah, he called, and he's like, I need you to come home. And I'm like, well, I'm in blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm 3 hours away. Yeah. And he's like, you're not here in Williamsport? And I said, no, I'm not here. Like, or I'm not there. And thank God my mom came into my apartment and saw it first. Yeah. Because we would have had no explanation. Like, this guy, he said he saw it. Like, as soon as we moved in, he's like, I found a needle out front. And I'm like, and, like, I only have my one, like, I'm good. Like,
it wasn't ours. You're also in a fairly big city. Like, something outside doesn't mean anything.
Well, we looked like he could see us for what we were, you know, like.
Maybe.
I think so. We did not look very good. Yeah. Maybe I'll include a picture of, like, our style. We looked weird.
True.
Matched, like, weird patterns, weird hats, like.
Didn't care because you get this weird thing that comes with being a drug addict, and you think you look great all the time, but you know you really don't.
Heroin chic, like that. I literally went for that look, and like, so pathetic. But so they broke in, the cops were called, and thankfully we had like taken our shit home and like cleaned up, and they didn't find anything in our place except for, I think, a couple empty beer. Like, he did come into our place and make it a little dirty, but it wasn't trashed. Yeah. And I took everything home. I don't have that many valuables, so. Yeah. But the neighbors had, like, they have, like, the vaporizer. They smoked a lot of weed.
And sold a lot of weed out of there and had Xbox. Like, they had.
Oh, yeah, he took their Xboxes and shit. Yeah. Like, it was really fucked up. So that burned, like, they were pissed at us.
They were cool neighbors, though. Like, they used to let us come in and just chill and play video games and toke up. It was nice.
They were cool until that happened, and then they didn't talk to us. And then we tried to steal their internet, and you, like, had some wire. It was bad. We didn't even have internet. Like, it was...
No, I tried to run up, I tried to Wi-Fi sniff their stuff.
You did for a while. It worked.
Yeah, it worked for a little bit.
Until they saw the cord.
They changed. No, it wasn't a cord. I didn't have a cord. It was just...
Yeah, no, there was something that was plugged out back. The cable. That was for cable TV. Yeah. And, what else? So, I said he had a family, like a wife and a normal family, normal house. So, for Easter, I think this was Easter.
Didn't know he was a crackhead?
I thought maybe she knew, but...
She, like, kind of accepted it because he wasn't, like, that bad, I guess?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He made us not, like, we couldn't mention anything, and we had to say that you worked with him.
She was super cool, too, like... I don't know.
Yeah, so she made us this, like, huge spread, like, ham, collard greens, green beans, mashed potatoes. It was so delicious. It was, like, the best food ever. And I was so appreciative.
Eaten well at all for a while.
No, so to get that food, and I have never, ever, ever had collard greens that amazing. Like, they were so good.
I'm not a collard green guy. So
I just remember that was my first time ever eating them. I've tried them a bunch since, and it's just not as good, so... Yeah. Then Obama was running for president at this point, so he came to speak at Lycoming College. Oh, I gotta, like, connect the dots on this one. So keep that in mind. A friend / dealer who was another old head in town. This dude, he was like an upstanding citizen in the area. He was very well known. He got to actually go meet Obama because he was like on the city council or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Sold dope and he sold food.
Yeah.
That's good?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he made homemade food and like you could call him up and be like, yo, I want this. Or yo, I want some food. Or yo, I want some dope. And like, he was just
did a lot of stuff in the community, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that could... I mean, I guess he could still be doing that. I couldn't imagine that happening for that long, like...
I mean, he'd been doing it that long, so...
True. He got to meet Obama, and afterwards, he invited us over to his house for a cookout, he called it. And it was a huge block party. Yeah. Like, everybody came out, and it was just a very culturally...
different experience.
Yeah, it was so amazing.
We've never been in the city before. We've never been... We're from a very small town.
Yeah, and like if people are having a cookout here, they're not gonna invite you over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But like this was like everybody was there and they all had food and it was just so cool. And he had snow cones, and he sold, like, sodas. Like, this dude, he was just a hustler. He knew how to make money. Like, he bought, like, a case of soda and sold them all for, like, 50 cents or something. Like, he was smart. But, yeah, so there were some good parts to living in Williamsport. Like, I don't know if a good meal and a block party account for good parts, but, like...
Not worth the anguish.
No, it was never, ever worth it. It was terrible. So, we moved home before the semester ended. Shortly before. But I had to lie. I don't know why I didn't just come clean. Yeah, I guess because we knew when we went back to he didn't have a place to live.
Yeah. We were just trying to make it as long as we could do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was no better alternative.
No. Looking back, I really wish I would have just told my mom, like...
Yeah.
If we had done that, maybe we could have gone to rehab or something.
2 roads.
But I'm happy with the life I have now.
Yeah, so, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, guys. The next part of this story is going to be back in hometown.
Take 2.
No, I'll just mute that out there.
Okay.
So when we moved back, he was homeless. I was sleeping on my mom's couch, and this is when we got like really bad at thieving and
just
trickery and just bad. We were pieces of shit at that point.
Yeah, it was still like I was probably ill far more than I was ever well.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I might have got well, like, once a day, if not, like, maybe once every 2 days, 3 days sometimes.
I mean, that's how it was in Williamsport.
Bad,
in Williamsport,
man.
we went, like...
Having a house and being homeless are very different things, being sick.
Yeah, that's true. But we will follow this video up soon. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I will see you next time. Bye.